New evidence shows the centuries-old document may be a forgery. Let's feel it out. Let's bring in Michael Pipard, professor of theology at Fordham University. Great to have you, Professor.
Thank you.
The first question, before we get to the actual document. 33 years old, during that time, called rabbi, which was a term of respect for an elder.
That's true. Bet you're the same age Jesus was when he fucking died.
Shit.
We should crucify you.
Does that mean that I'm the second coming?
Yes.
Yes, I think it does.
Holy shit.
You have your own show.
You have to be crucified, though, Ben. Sorry, we're going to go get some Romans. We're going to fly them in.
Some Romans. How about some Romanians
Romanians?
instead?
All right.
That'll work.
They'd be
close
cheaper.
enough.
I think they'd be cheaper anyways.
Yeah, for sure. Easily. You can get like 10 Romanians for the price of one Roman. And they're just as good. I mean, almost, you know.
Should Jesus have had a wife?
Right. I don't think that Jesus was married, and I don't think that's a pious answer, or one coming out of religion, but out of historical plausibility. Jesus was an itinerant man. He wandered around. He was an apocalyptic preacher, and he had some actually controversial things to say about marriage and family life. That people needed to leave behind their father and mother to follow him, for example. So I do not think Jesus was...
That's the kind
bullshit,
of shit,
dude. Jesus was like the first rock star. He was getting tons of pussy.
That kind of sounds to me almost like he reminds me so much of Charles Manson, but you know, most of Charles Manson's followers were women. Most of Jesus's were men. So
yeah.
I mean, like, I've always thought Jesus was just like a fag, you know? I don't say that in a derogatory way, but I mean, like, you know, he just gives off the gay vibe, you know?
No way, dude.
I have a pretty well-developed gaydar. And
Jesus was getting laid all the time.
Yeah, he was, but it was, you know, mostly 90% men.
No, I'd say...
And masculine-looking
women. I would say 90% women, 10% men, just to be like, well, might as well try this.
Okay. Well, you know, I have a fucking really profound theological disagreement on this point, Scott.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, I don't know if we're going to overcome this.
You weren't there.
Historically married. I don't think we have good evidence for that, along with John the Baptist and other folks like him. But then again, we can't know for sure these kind of things, and new evidence is interesting for us.
So we get to the proof.
I don't know if you guys heard, but I found an ancient document that said Jesus liked mint chocolate chip ice cream. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, I did. It's pretty awesome.
It's kind of
the Cold Stone Scrolls.
If Jesus was from the Middle East, he'd probably be lactose intolerant, wouldn't he?
No, well, he's the son of God, faggot.
Oh, I
mean, come on.
I guess so.
Learn some fucking logic, bitch.
He's the son of God? I thought he was God.
Well, he's both.
What?
Yeah.
He's both.
You got to get down with the Jesus. And he liked mint chocolate chip. Some people will tell you like chocolate, but that's bullshit.
Maybe
it was just
all right, now what do you see in this?
Sure. What do I see? Well, this is a Coptic fragment of papyrus. So Coptic is the language of early Christian Egypt, and Christianity flourished in Egypt very much from the 2nd to the 7th century and even up until today. Coptic. And it's a fragment that has a collection of sayings about family relations.
Just on its like first blush, does this look like kind of legit? Like, is this a language that you recognize?
I certainly recognize the language of Coptic.
Yeah. Right
do you recognize this as too legit to quit?
As too legit to quit.
It's like, is this legit? Is this legit here?
Is it too legit?
Is it too legit to quit?
I don't understand. Like, they would even think this is evidence. It's just some really old document that mentions Jesus.
At some point, like, it's like 1,000 years in the future, people are gonna they're gonna be like reading the Harry Potter books and be like, this is true and it really happened. And then occasionally someone will find a fragment of fan fiction on what's left of the internet. It says here, Snape fucked Hermione. It's like, that's not true. That's not part of the official gospel of Harry.
I hope that does come to pass.
Poor child.
It will. It'll happen. I'm a prophet. Woo! I see into the future so clearly.
That says CNN.
This right here,
this
CNN. That's, you know what, we missed that in our analysis earlier.
CNN.
So now we have breaking news here on CNN. What I would say is that this document looks unprofessional.
That's pretty cool.
At the glance of someone who studies Coptic and ancient papyri. At first blush, we thought it looked unprofessional. That did not necessarily mean fake, because there are a lot of unprofessional handwriting in antiquity. Handwriting is a skill that is acquired. And
it's not easy to figure it out, right? So what else do you look for here?
Right, so the main line that everyone was focusing on is this one right here.
So wait, if I advance it, I think we're going to know what the quote is, right?
Yes.
That line supposedly says, Jesus said to them, my wife, she will be able to be my disciple.
That's right. And no doubt that those terms...
So someone wrote down that Jesus said something.
Yes, that's never happened before. Like, I mean, like, of course there's, I mean, like, look at all the different writings about religion that exist today. Do people really think it was different back then? Of course everyone is going to have different interpretations. I mean, there's tons of books that didn't even make it in the Bible that have totally different versions of fucking biblical events.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there was a shit ton of writings on these subjects.
Yeah, and yeah.
Most of them are lost to time. But I mean, like, of course there's different versions of the same fucking story because it's a fucking myth. It's not the truth. It's not something that actually happened. It's not
You
fucking
weren't
historical
there!
fact.
You weren't there.
How do you know? Bitch.
Because I was there, bitch. Oh!
I was there too. Who are you?
Terms are there,
Judas.
and what we don't have is the context, right, of what surrounds this text. And so initially people
Maybe I
said,
was
well, it
doubting
could say
Thomas.
Jesus said to them, my wife is the church, or my wife
And Jesus
is
said
my
to them,
community
"My
of
wife
followers,"
gives great
or my
fucking
wife
head.
is Mary Magdalene. We don't know what it would have said.
A lot of people have said that about Mary Magdalene, right?
Indeed.
She
Yeah.
got implicated in the Gnostic Gospels,
That's
right?
right.
Which is a whole division of Christianity in of itself. You know, this is what they didn't want you to know. These people.
Yeah, I've read some of the Gnostic Gospels before.
What they didn't want you to
Like-
know about Jesus.
Like the
new
Gospel of
best-selling
Thomas.
Yeah, like that was like the Jesse Ventura conspiracy shit of the day. The untold truth about 9/11. I mean, Jesus.
Well, of course, there were biblical writings that were taken out of the Bible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and teacher were watching the show on History Channel briefly, just as we were bored. It was banned from the Bible. And they're talking about the apocalypse of Peter, how the concept of universal salvation, where it's like, what was it? They said, like,
Well, yeah,
you go to heaven, right?
In the Gospel of Peter, it basically says that if the people in heaven look down on hell and see the people suffering, they will petition God to have mercy, and God will allow everyone into heaven, regardless of whether or not they were, you know, sinners or not.
Fuck that.
So the church, of course, was like, hell
the
no.
Catholic Church is like, wait a
Oh,
minute.
hell no. Because if we did that, people would just feel free to sin.
Yeah.
The idea that everyone is not doomed to eternal pain and suffering is offensive to religious people.
How dare you say that? God loves us all.
God fucking hates you!
That's right. That's one positive thing we can take from all of this is maybe it directs people to some of the texts that we have fuller versions of, of Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Philip, these other non-canonical
So
texts.
the big question becomes, do you
Yeah.
believe this papyrus is
Gospel of
legit? And you're
Tyrese.
saying you don't think it
Me and
is,
Jesus
and
was
that's
drinking a
because
40
of what
on
is
the street
news,
corner.
especially in your community.
Right.
What suggests that it's not real?
In the small community of Coptic papyrologists around the world, we have been very busy this week, and especially a couple of folks in Germany. An American scholar named Christian Askeland and a Romanian named Aline Suciu did a lot of work analyzing this fragment over here. What this is a second fragment that was part of the anonymous donors collection. It's a Gospel of John.
When I hear anonymous donor, I think of like a sperm bank or something like that.
There is sperm on that. You see that hole in the middle? That's
Yeah.
that's actually not a hole. That's a substance coating the top.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it must not be about Jesus. It must be some sort of ancient pornography.
Well, Jesus was a big porn star in the day. A lot of people don't know that.
He was.
Yeah. That's because he was hung like this.
So it wasn't.
You got to remember that.
Jesus walks on the set.
Did he like help build the set too, since he was a carpenter?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Jesus
Fragment in Coptic, and we were told a year and a half ago or so that this is kind of a run-of-the-mill fragment
He
that
would
we
turn
have lots
water
of.
into wine and get
Okay.
O's drunk on
So when this one went up online a couple weeks ago on Harvard's website, that was the first time that the scholarly community had seen this fragment. And I believe that these two scholars have shown definitively that this one is a forgery.
Well, the first clue is that Harvard had it. Now, if it had been at Yale University or something like that, it would be much more legit.
Is that like a preppy joke or something? Well,
The first clue is that it was Harvard. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, you
You're just
goddamn
jealous.
elitist
You're not at
faggot.
Harvard, TJ.
No, I'm not jealous of that.
You're a fucking loser, buddy.
I went to Harvard.
I'm not going to make this a
I
Yale
went to
Harvard thing,
Yale.
us versus them.
I'm
I don't
just saying.
think, at least not today.
Historically
at least
speaking.
not today. I
I'm
have great
better than
respect
normal
for
people,
Professor
for
Karen
I
King.
went
She's
to
absolutely
Harvard.
a world-class scholar, and others who saw this with their own eyes were great scholars as well. So I'm not here to criticize them. What I want to show is just one
Yeah.
one spot here. You can see there's a hole in this
the cum
fragment,
spot.
and
No,
you can
it's not
see
a
that a
hole.
word is written kind of around the hole.
Yes.
This little nu, this little n
Oh,
is
yeah.
underneath the hole. On the other side of the fragment, I presume a forger wrote right through the hole. So we have some really unusual scribal practice that I don't think any of us have seen another example.
So the
of something
same
like
donor
that.
gave you something that he said or she said was legit. You have found out it is not, which of course casts doubt on this, on
Right.
top
It
of
is-
everything else
it's-
about it. So you don't buy it.
It's not
That's right.
legit.
So all of the
It's too legit, actually.
Legit.
No,
legit.
the
Too
one on
legit
the
to
left
quit.
is too legit to quit. The one on the right has to quit because it ain't legit.
Holy
So-
shit.
You gotta fucking remember these things, Ben. You gotta get you some knowledge, dog.
pieces of this one that seemed to be dubious at first are now we're now more dubious than we were before.
Made manifest by the fact that its source collection is also seen to be problematic.
Thank you
Right,
for
and so the
explaining what is
provenance, meaning
obvious.
how these papyri came through various collections
Papyri.
into the hands of this donor. That is kind of the
Papyruses.
question.
I like
going forward.
papyruses better.
Who's this donor?
They should
do we need
change
to
the
know more about
papyrus
this
of
person?
that.
Is there
Papyrus.
other forgeries around that we need to be concerned about?
Papyruses.
So historically, it would have made sense for Jesus not to be married, although many men his age were. This document that was supposed to be a big aha, we probably don't believe. And the last thing we've learned is that the plural of papyrus is papyri.
Indeed, you didn't know that already?
Of course I did. No, I had no clue.
What's funny is that platypus, the plural is platypuses.
Yeah.
And you would think it'd be platypi.
I like platypi better.
I like platypuses better.
You just like it
Because
because
you
it
can
has
say
pusses.
pusses.
Yeah, I have to say yeah.
Platypussy. Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know. Fucking let's move on to the next story.